Alright, so in this tutorial video, we're going to be checking out actual tools and how to connect them with agents. Now, that's gonna be absolutely amazing. So let's get started with the first tool. The first tool is a calculator tool that shows us how we can turn a simple Python function, which is this calculate function, into a tool that can be used later on by agents. The first thing that we need to do is to add the tool decorator in the tool definition. So we write our Python function as normal and we add this add tool on top of it. Of course, we need also to do the import of this decorator from LangChain core.tools. We can call this tool simply as code by calling calculator.invoke. And this is very helpful when you want to test tools before you connect them with agents. It's very useful to do unit testing of tools and make sure that there is no issue with your tool because when you connect it with agents, it's a lot harder to debug. So this is what I would suggest that you always do with tools. First, create the Python function, test it out, then add the tool decorator on top and use the .invoke with your regular tests to make sure that the function works. And using the .invoke, we pass the expression. As we see here, this tool works with an expression that is a mathematical expression, 2 plus 2, 10 divided by 3. This is just a very simple string that you would expect from a GPT model to output to your tool. Okay, so we work with that. We have created also a regular expression to break it down like that. You don't have to worry about that. It's just a Python thing. So let's begin. Let's go ahead, load your virtual environment and call Python and your tool. Let's see the output. Let's see the result. So as we can see, 2 plus 2 result is 4. 10 divided by 3 does this. Division by 0 is not able to be done. The result of calculating 2 power 10. And finally, calculating hello plus world, well, you get this error. So our tool actually works. We have handled pretty much most of the edge cases we can think of by passing the except values. We have specified the input of the tool. We have gave this docstring that essentially is the description of the tool, and this connection is handled automatically by LangChain. We also give it its argument and a few examples of how the argument should look like and what value it returns. So this is how you would do very simple tools in LangChain if you didn't really, worked in production, if you are just playing around. Now let's go to knowledge search and we're going to include now the pydantic arguments. So in this case, we're going to build a read-only retrieval tool with a pydantic schema for complex arguments. So this is the input schema we have specified. If you don't understand it, I would highly suggest that you go back where we explain how pydantic works, but just to go over it once again, pydantic allows us to specify the types of inputs we expect. We can give descriptions for each type of input, and also we can give it default values. So we specify that our search has a query. We want to retrieve the top k results. This should be 1 to 10 with a default value of 3. And finally, we want to also see the source, which is the document source. We will have 3 documents in this example. This is the knowledge base. I have set it up for you, so it's just an example here. It's just a dictionary with 3 different keys and value list. And here is the tool that we specify. So here we use again the decorator as before, but we also pass an extra parameter to the decorator, which is the args schema, which we specify as search args. So this will allow our tool to verify that these parameters follow the schema over here. And later on, this will be used with the agent. We again specify a tool description using the docstring. We explain the arguments again and explain the return value. And here the function does a very simple work of going over the dictionary and searching for stuff. You don't have to really worry about it. It's just code. So here on main, we use again the .invoke with these 2 different prompts. So the first one is LangChain and LangGraph query with source docs. It will use the default value of top k3, so it will fetch back the top 3 result it finds. Then we do the exact same same thing, but for API key, and we search on the FAQ. So let's see if this works. We run the code, and what we see here is that for the first example, it found 3 results: React agents combine reasoning and tactic in a single loop, not very related. Langsmith is a platform for debugging, LangGraph, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we did the retrieval. In terms of the search knowledge base using this query, the API key, we found only one result is to how do I get an OpenAI API key? You go there. So our tool works again, and what you have to learn from this tool is how you can create pedantic schemas and pass it to tools so there is validation happening. Now let's go to the third example of today's video, which is creating a support ticket tool. This is actually an action tool, and if you don't remember what a read-only tool and an action tool is, go watch the theoretical part of the tool fundamentals for LangChain where we explain everything. So this tool is an action tool, can create a record and demonstrate structure, return values, and error handling. Of course, this is just a mock test, no actual ticket system is called, okay? So just to clarify that. So again, we specify a pedantic schema for the ticket input. It has a title, a description, priority, category. We specify string values, defaults in some cases, and then we create a dictionary that will hold the tickets. And here we again pass the input schema to the tool decorator. We specify our create support ticket function, our docstring that explains what this Python tool will do, what its argument is, and what return value it will have. And it will return a structured output that is going to be a dictionary, just like this. So let's invoke this once again and see the output. And I would highly suggest that you also run these examples on your own so you see how they run, that you test them out as well. So create support ticket, boom, we get the support ticket in structured format. And when we want to pass the invalid priority by saying priority urgent, this is an invalid argument. So we see that we get invalid priority urgent. We must get one of the low, medium, or high. So we see that we also were able to do error handling. And this is one of the things you need to always remember. It's always so important that you do error handling on these tools because users will do mistakes. The LLM might also do mistakes. So by doing error handling and returning errors in a good format, will inform the LLM and the agent on what it should do to fix the issue. So let's go to the next example now that we have done very nice progress. So the next example is essentially an action tool again that sends an external message. It demonstrates string return values and again failure modes. So what you are going to see here is how tools usually act as wrappers of external APIs. We specify a mock notification service here with 4 different channels, including email, Slack, SMS, and webhook. We do here a mock message that sends something according to the parameters. And here we define a tool that is called send notification, takes 3 inputs. We again do the tool description here. We'll give it the arguments and the return value. So this tool actually calls this mock API service. So it does an action. And here we handle the exceptions of APIs. And this is very important to do with APIs because there is very high potential that you do a mistake. So let's check out the example. Let's see the result. So we send a valid notification and we see that notification was sent successfully via Slack. We send an unknown channel notification because Telegram is not known. We get a very good educative message of that this channel is not included. And we also have the empty message, which is again not allowed. All right. So we've seen 2 action tools, 2 read-only tools. Super amazing. Super lovely. So now the question is how we can connect those kind of tools with agents. That's where the nice stuff happens. That is where the connection happens. So on the first, we're going to see how we can create this connection, but with an empty tool list. The agent can still try to answer from existing knowledge, but it cannot access live or private information. So let's see what happens in that scenario. We again define the agent, we get the chat model using the get chat model helper function that I've created for you. We create the agent by passing the model and an empty tool list. And then we start asking it questions. Let's check out what the result will be in this case. So this is the minimalagent.py file. We run it. We see our provider here, which is minimaxm3. In my case, it might be open API for you, whatever you want. Okay. So here we can see that in the first case, with no tools, the agent was able to answer queries due to its capabilities and internal knowledge. But when we ask a question about the weather in Athens, which is, for example, something external, the agent is going to say, I don't have access to real-time data, so I cannot provide the current temperature. So it will recommend to you what you could do to improve this issue. And what we do here is we call the agent using a role of user. So essentially we pass a user prompt with the dictionary format because we do a very simple example here, and we output the answers. All right. So here you can see how the agent will respond when it has internal knowledge of the result, which is, for example, the capital of France and its population. However, when you ask it a real-time question and it doesn't have the tool, it will respond that it's not able to answer for you. So now we're going to see how you can connect your AI agent with one tool, the calculator tool, and how you can stream the output. What you are going to see is thought, action, observation, and final answer. So let's go ahead and see this example because this is where things start getting interesting. So just defining a tool is really not enough. You must bound it to the agent and the executor. We also need a system prompt that will help the agent and guide it. So first, we define the large language model that we want to use, again, using the get chat model interface. We have passed over the calculate function we created before, and we define our first system prompt, which is you're a helpful research assistant with access to a calculator. We give it some guidelines. We say to it, use the calculator tool when we have a math question. After calling the tool, synthesize the result. Don't just return raw tool output, which is going to be, the result of the tool. Explain what it means. And if the calculator returns an error, explain to the user what went wrong. So here we use the create agent function from LangChain.agents. We pass our LLM, we pass our tools in a list, which is essentially the calculate tool function we've defined above, and we pass our system prompt through the system prompt parameter. And then we can begin streaming the output as we've seen in the past using chunks. And we specify here the user request. So let's go ahead and run this example to see the output. I think you are going to find it really lovely and interesting. So here we run the example onetool.py. Let's look at the result. LLM provider, boom. Streaming the React loop, we see here live in action getting the results. We've seen the tool call, what it's going to calculate, what is the result. So the agent here explains us 125 was multiplied by 17 and it equals that. And you could try to something like this to check if it fails. All right, let's do that. Is it gonna fail now? Is it going to work? Let's see. So here we see, great question. However, 10 divided by 0 is undefined in mathematics. It's not a case where the calculator would return a number division, blah, blah, blah. So this cannot happen. It will not work. So the agent doesn't even call the calculator, if I'm not mistaken. So that's very interesting. The agent has knowledge of when to use the calculator or, when not to use it because it doesn't make sense. So now we're going to see how we can actually add two different tools to our agent. That's where the agent starts, to do its own actions. I think that's very useful. So we have the calculator function, all right? It evaluates the expression. We have a mock knowledge base here, and we have a search knowledge base storage. All right, we have a system prompt where we explain the tools available. We have the calculate function for mathematical operations, the search knowledge base for factual information about Greece. We use calculate for math questions, use knowledge base search for factual data questions. These things are very useful to do in system prompts because it helps, explain to the agent when to use what kind of tool. So I would highly suggest that you put time and focus to make sure that your system prompt has all the guidelines and all the tools available along with their descriptions clearly defined. Also here, you want to talk about how you want it to give the answer so it follows your instructions. So what we do is we pass the selected tools to the agent and we create again an agent, just used a dynamic binding function that just gets a list of tools and puts them to the agent. The model remains the same, the system methods remains the same. And here we got a small demo with a couple of different examples. In the first example, we have both tools, so we could really answer the question. However, in the second example, we don't have both tools, so it's only going to be able to do the search tool call because we only gave it the search knowledge base. It's very, very simple. You see here that you just passed the list with the tool names or the tool definitions. It's as simple as that to connect your agent with the tools. Again, we use the .invoke with role user to just put out the messages. So here, tool calls with dynamic selection. What is the GDP of Greece multiplied by 2? It approximates the GDP of Greece, approximately 218 billion. So multiplying it by 2 gives us that. Its steps that it did was go into the knowledge base, get the GDP, then pass this value to the calculator, multiply it by 2, and we get that, all right? But when we have the scenario 2 and we only have the search tool available, what it's going to show us is that the source of this information is just the knowledge base and that it could not multiply it. But it's going to try and approximate it through its internal knowledge, but it's not really calling, the tool. So the reference is just the internal knowledge base. Of course, agents are very capable right now. So even if they don't, have some basic tools for basic arithmetic or basic functions, they're going to give the answer. But there's a very specific scenario where it might hallucinate. So in this case, it used the calculate tool, gave the correct answer. In this case, it didn't use it, gave the correct answer, but the risk is higher, especially if this computation would be a lot more complex. So guys, if you want reliable agents, make sure that you create tools and bind them, meaning connecting them to your agent. This improves your reliability of your agent, reduces hallucinations, errors, problems by a significant mile. It requires more work, but it's very, very important that you do so. So in this case, we're going to be seeing tool call failures. Errors should be returned as observations. This is helpful to the model because it can allow it to understand the issue, fix the input, do some extra actions so it can fulfill the request of the user. Again, we have the knowledge base, blah, blah, blah. And what we're going to see is what happens when a tool fails. In this case, we have the error message is defined. We have a system prompt, use calculate for maths, search knowledge base for factual data. If a tool returns an error, parse the error message carefully. Again, we create our agent, bind it with our tools. It's very, very easy. You should run these examples. You will understand everything. Even if I'm passing them a little bit faster, is because I really want you to go ahead and go hands-on with the code. That's why I have created all of these materials, all of these slides, because I want you to go hands-on. I want you to really put in the work manually to test everything out and feel safe with the code. So let's go ahead and run this example, which is handling errors. So first scenario, it returns no results. So what can you tell me about the GDP of France? Let's check it out. France GDP is not in the knowledge base, so it will apologize that it encounters a limitation. We only have Greece data, so we handle this perfectly. And it talks about Greece, but it cannot talk about France GDP from the knowledge base, and it gives us some recommendations of what to do. So it tried using the tool. The answer was a failure, so it responded with what failed. On scenario B, we have a malformed tool argument. So we have problematic tool arguments. So let's run the example here with malformed input to see what happens. So here, as we can see, we try to call the expression 5 plus 3, and the agent was actually able to solve the issue, which was very, very interesting. At first, it failed because it says it could not evaluate 5 plus 3. However, on step 2, it was able to succeed by changing 3 to value of 3. And the key lesson here, as we've said, is that clear tool errors give the agent information it can act on and recover. And this was pretty amazing. So as you can see here that even if a user gives wrong input or an agent passes wrong input, it can recover if you create good tool errors that are explanatory. The agents are smart enough nowadays to be able to recover from those failures. So this is how you make robust tools. And also by doing all of these things, you are going to be able to also understand what happens and what goes wrong while you evaluate everything. So that's very, very important. So now we're ready to go ahead and do our project for this lecture. Hope you're ready. If you aren't, do a revision and I will see you in the next video.